Wandavision episode 6. Let's talk about it. Alright, so my last review was like 20 minutes. Sorry about that, which is longer than any view on either my main channel, EDPC Productions. Check it out if you haven't. Give that a sub too, as well as this one, if you don't mind. But also as the longest review on either channel. Did I say that? I hope I said that because it's true. 20 minutes. This one might be longer. I don't know yet because obviously I'm filming it right now. You're watching it right now. That's irrelevant. But I have a lot to say, so let's breeze through it. Yeah. So my first thought watching the episode is, again, this is incredibly realistic to the time period. Hats off to, you know, everyone involved. But this one almost bothered me at times because, you know, you got the quick cut editing, super, you know, odd. They did a lot of out of focus shots. And obviously I was impressed by its, you know, the realism. But that's just, that filmmaking kind of bothers me. It's not really my favorite. Obviously we look, in this episode, we see the kids really look up to Pietro. That might not end well, you know, if Pietro turns out to be either someone he's not or, you know, evil. I don't know. We'll see. I'll get more into that later in the episode, but, you know, just an observation. Of course, all of their Halloween suits are, you know, the comic accurate versions of themselves. It's a nice fun way for Marvel to nod at the characters in the comic version, you know, while also staying in tune with, you know, the universe and not, you know, breaking the fourth wall or whatever. So I am going to get into this, you know, later in the vid, but Pietro steps in to be the father figure to the kids for Halloween as Vision, you know, goes somewhere else. He has to do something else.
Whoa, 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 what's the big dealio? Big guy has a conflict, twins need a father figure for the night. Don't sweat it, sis. I got the old XY chromosome. To look after the kids, and so I think Pietro's, you know, motive is to drive a wedge between them, separate them, and to inspire Wanda some more. I'll get into that later. You stay tuned and I'll talk about it. Then we zoom out, we go back to Sword, and I just have to say, Hayward, I think I mentioned it last episode, but Hayward's a bit of a, you know, the stereotypical bad guy asshole direction they're going into. It's a little tired and done. I don't see anything new there. You know, obviously, no one likes him, he's a dick, but, you know, not very creative. So that's maybe my one complaint with the show so far. I like the actor. I like the character. Well, I don't like the character, you know what I mean? But, you know, I think he's an okay character. It's just a little tired and done. And then, of course, how can you talk about the episode without Jimmy Woo and Monica Rambeau being badasses and fighting back? And damn, Jimmy's got some skills. I mean, I didn't know that. I kind of expected from Monica, but, you know, Jimmy kind of pulled that out of nowhere. Anyway, cool scene. Then we go back into the town on Halloween festivities. Pietro calls the kids demon spawn. And, you know, this line started to get me thinking because I've referenced Mephisto in the past. That's a huge fan theory. But I'm really starting to think that it might just all be, again, misdirection, something the show is kind of known to do. It's all a mystery. And Marvel's just pulling a fast one on us, you know? They're referencing Mephisto a ton for all, you know, the fans to try and find and throwing you off from maybe the real mystery. So I'm thinking possibly, as of right now, Mephisto could be, you know, he could not even be in the show. And it could just be all joke references to throw you off. And so I'm putting my eggs in both baskets. So I win no matter what. And you can't call me wrong. And there's something really odd that I noticed. I had to watch the episode twice again because I feel like in this moment I was just stunned for a while after on.
Yeah, kick ass.
I feel the need.
Force me. Ow! Kick ass.
So in case you didn't know, Kick Ass is a movie, right? There are two Kick Ass movies. And they star Aaron Taylor Johnson, which is the MCU Quicksilver, the Quicksilver we saw in Age of Ultron, and Evan Peters, the Quicksilver here, X-Men Quicksilver. And so it's either a, you know, a funny gag, a funny nod, but I feel like they would have just maybe said it and not have wanted to stay on it for like an MCU, really. Like we know they don't really do that often, break the fourth wall like that. So I'm wondering if, because I looked it up, Kick-Ass is a Marvel comic. Its roots are in Marvel. Is that the connection? Where's the connection there? So I don't know. Maybe I'm going to have to watch those movies now. By the way, I'm ranking the X-Men movies because, you know, the tie-in with Evan Peters' X-Men. So if you haven't there, I think, I always mess that up. But so go ahead and click there to see my X-Men reviews if you want to, or wait until the end. You know, you can do it there. But am I going to have to rank the Kick-Ass movies? If so, there's only 2. Not as bad as 13. But, you know, hopefully it's just a funny gag and I can stick to just one franchise. So Herb asked Wanda in that scene, in the same scene,
Something I can do for you, Wanda? Do you want something changed?
are they under the impression that they need to do everything right for Wanda, right? What's the deal with that? Because we know they're not awake, obviously, because we can see that Vision can wake them up. So is their goal just while they're asleep to just serve Wanda and everything? And then I'm also wondering why some people are just frozen or repeating the same task. Is it because Wanda doesn't have, the power to exert control over them all the time? And that, she gets a tear in her eye, so she's obviously awake, experiencing life, but she's just stuck repeating the same task in that one scene. Just odd, food for thought. And so perhaps the weirdest thing in this episode is the ad break in the middle, where you have the Yo Magic yogurt with a claymation ad with a kid getting fed by a surfing shark, Yo Magic. And so all of the other ads up until this point have been ridiculously obvious. They don't try and hide it, but this one is super, I have no idea what it could be. I looked it up. I tried watching a few things. If you know by now, maybe the internet's cracked it, put it in the comments. But super odd, they say, what do they say? They say, snack for survivors, the snack for survivors. So then in the background of the next scene, on the marquee in the cinema, you have The Incredibles and The Parent Trap. Obviously both tying into the show. So I haven't seen The Parent Trap, but as far as I know, it's a movie about like divorce and split up parents and the kids trying to get them back together. So, we have kids, we have parents fighting. Does it foreshadowing again, referencing the future. And then we have The Incredibles, superpowered family. So nice nod. Yeah, it was a nice thing to include. So as I just mentioned, Wanda's superpowered kids. I'm no comic guy, as I mentioned before, but as far as I know, there's precedence for, I forget their superhero names, but one of them is Speedy and one of them is, psychic. Telekinetic, I think. Okay, anyway. But yeah, there's precedence for that stuff, so I'm not surprised they did it. But surprisingly, so they're obviously going to be set up for the rest of the MCU in this show, but they are not the only potential superheroes set up in this episode. Stay tuned. And then we zoom out of Sword again, and I just have one question for this quick scene. They mentioned, why is Hayward tracking Vision? Why is Hayward tracking Vision? We don't know. Maybe, no idea. No idea. I have no theories, no thoughts, just something I noticed. And then you have, if you've seen the trailers, you have the Agnes scene from the trailer with Vision where she's in the car and she's laughing hysterically and she says, "Am I dead?" No, because you are, right?
Am I dead?
No. Why would you think that?
Because you are.
And so a few things in this convo. So Vision says, she says, "I got lost. Sorry, I took a wrong turn and got lost." Vision says, "In the town you grew up in episode 4, there's a shot of all the papers on the wall with all the identities of the Westview residents. Agnes is the only one without identification. So it's possible, she didn't grow up in this town, or again, misdirection from the show, which would be absolutely crazy. And hats off to Marvel if true. But my theory right now is that Agnes, of course, did not grow up in the town. And I actually think she's acting in this scene. I think she's pretending to be what Vision, thinks she should do as an awoken resident and acting all weird. And I think that Pietro and Agnes are two sides of the same coin, because Agnes is trying to get through to Vision. She's saying things like, what does she say? She says, "Wanda won't let us think about going outside." She says, what else does she say? Oh, she's trying to inform him of the life outside, right? And saying different things that make Vision more and more angry at Wanda for creating this reality and keeping people inside. Whereas Pietro, in a scene, I think, a few scenes, is trying to get the opposite. He's trying to get Wanda to exert more control over Westview, like congratulating her, saying, "What, are you kidding? I think this is awesome. I think this is, amazing." So they're trying to pit them against each other, presumably because the finale will be huge and accomplish whatever goal they have in mind. And then the implications from this episode, both in this scene with Agnes and in the scene where he tries to escape, is that Vision now knows that he's dead. He now knows that, I guess we'll see if he makes that connection, but I think he'd be pretty stupid not to, because he can't escape or maybe he just thinks, it's impossible to escape the border. But he was literally being ripped to shreds, and Agnes told him he's dead, so he's going to have some questions for Wanda, let's just say that. Then we go back to S.W.O.R.D. again. I'm liking these hybrid little episodes. But so you get Monica talking again about her aerospace engineer, texting her, and they were about to go meet her. So hopefully, probably, since the next episode is like an hour long, we'll probably see this guy. I would be very surprised if it's a new character because of how much setup they're doing and how much, teases there are. So I think it's either an established character that we see, who is now an aerospace engineer, again, could be a Skrull, or a lot of people are teasing Reed Richards. I think that would be awesome. I don't think it's very likely because I feel like it'd be out of place and kind of take the attention off of Wanda and Vision and the whole reality. But I'd be up for it. That sounds cool. That sounds really cool. And then also in this scene, Darcy, so Monica says, something about going back into the reality. Darcy says,
the energy inside has rewritten your cells on a molecular level twice. It's changing you.
This is obviously, well, not obviously, but this is, my theory is that this is precedence for her superpower abilities, because then again, in the comics, she has that stuff. She's a superhero. I'm saying this all wrong. Okay. In the comics, she's a superhero. And now we finally have a bridge to give her the powers in the MCU, the radiation, changing her cells, giving her powers, right? But the question here is now, Monica obviously has this because she's escaped from the reality. She's the only one that we know so far who's escaped from the reality and be changed by it. How many other people in Westview are going to get the same fate? If Westview just ends, is it not going to happen to them? If they all escape through the border, is it going to happen? We'll see. But Monica's becoming a superhero, and that means as far as I know, 3 potential, not potential, they're going to be future superheroes in the MCU phase 4 and beyond. So that's pretty cool. So as I said, then we get this scene with Pietro and Wanda where he's trying to provoke Wanda, pit her and Vision against each other. So I don't think at this point that, well, he's not MCU Quicksilver, right? And I think he's probably not X-Men Quicksilver either, because I think that's all, really, I think it's odd that he would say stuff like that. That doesn't really tie into his X-Men character as far as I know. So I think it's possible that he's either under control by someone else in the reality, or he's actually not any he's not actually not any Quicksilver. He's not X-Men Quicksilver either, and he's just someone pretending to be. And my question then is, why take the form of Evan Peters' X-Men? So I think it's more likely that he's under control, being asked to say these things, but again, that seems odd just saying it. So we'll find out, obviously, but intriguing stuff. And then another theory is that maybe Agnes and Pietro, right? As I said, 2 sides of the same coin, Pietro. But maybe they also don't know what happened in Westview, and they also are trying to get answers from Wanda, and that's why they're provoking thought, asking questions, and unlikely, just a thought. So that if it does happen, again, your boy told you. And then you have Wanda's grief. You go into that for a few seconds, and pretty powerful stuff. Super lonely, endless nothingness, and just a really human moment. Sad. Wanda really did lose everything. Her life was pretty tragic, and it'll only get worse when she flips out, the world hates her, yeah. So, yeah. And then you have something weird that I noticed was Wanda, turns away for a second, then she looks back at Pietro, and it's the dead Quicksilver's body, MCU, with the bullet holes from Sokovia, with Evan Peters' face and, his hair. And so we got this earlier in the season, episode 3, with dead Vision. And then it was sort of confirmed in episode 4 that she's using Vision's corpse and she's reanimating him to walk around. But so does that mean that they're using the MCU Quicksilver's corpse, animating that, but then why does it have Evan Peters' head? So this is all super odd. And then Darcy also earlier in the episode, again, maybe confirming the series, says something like,
Wanda's brother came to town.
You brought the wrong face.
Interesting line. I wonder if they'd say something else if they weren't just talking about the head as opposed to the body, which could be MCU Quicksilver's body. Again, just a theory. The more theories I tell you, the more likely it is that I'm right. So I'm going to keep doing it. And then you go back into Westview, and something I just noticed was a black and white movie playing in the background. I tried to figure out what it was. I have no idea. Maybe, I'm sure it's significant somehow. Even just a little reference or something, because otherwise, why would it be there? Why show a black and white movie in a town square on a Halloween night in Wandavision. So if anyone knows that, unlikely, but you know, or if it's figured out by now on the internet, just tell me down below, because I want to know. Interesting stuff. And then also in the scene where, you know, Pietro says harshly, you know, not like your dead husband can die twice. She sends him flying, right? So either that means she still doubts that he's her brother, or she values Vision way above her brother if she's come to believe that that really is her brother. Because they did share a bonding moment, you know, over her parents. It's a dick thing to say either way. It could just be her lashing out, her angry. But, you know, it could, so either she doesn't believe that it's her brother, she's still skeptical, or she values Vision that much more that she's willing to send him flying, you know. And then we get the crazy ending, and we find out, you know, Darcy is now in the new reality. And I think, obviously, in this point in the show, she's probably there to stay until Westview ends, right? So she's no longer an asset to the team, meaning it's just Jimmy and Monica now, the two-person team. And, yeah, Darcy's taken out. And just in general, that whole scene has massive implications because the border is spreading all around, you know, New Jersey, right? So that means now, whereas once it was just a town with all the people inside it was very closed, not a lot of people knew about it. Now the world will know, right? Because a lot of New Jersey has just been consumed by this massive, you know, border, right? No one knows what it is maybe yet, but people will know, people will be asking questions. There will be a lot of pressure on Sword and Hayward by association to figure it out, to stop it, to bring Wanda back. They might employ some other people's help. Maybe we get our cameo there. Doctor Strange, obviously monitoring reality, you know, threats to their dimension. That seems like a pretty big threat, and you know, because everyone that was in the reality, every object that was now consumed by that border is in Westview. They are no longer in, you know, this reality. So Doctor Strange could get involved. A lot could happen. It's gonna get crazy in the final 3 episodes. So I would just say, I said in the last episode that each episode has continually gotten better. I have to say that I like this one a lot. Don't get me wrong, but I don't think it was as good as last episode, which just kind of blew my mind. And then the Vision getting heated sequence and the ending was wild with Pietro Quicksilver. I don't think it was as good as last one per se. Still really excellent episode. And I'm sure the last 3 will blow my mind as well. And then, as I mentioned a few times in this video, we have the hour-long episodes starting next week, and they continue for the final 3. And that means we enter our 3rd act of the show now. We had Act 1, 1 through 3, which was basically all sitcoms, 4 through 6, which was a hybrid. I just fell. And 7 through 9, which is now hour-long episodes. We don't know what. Action-packed, we do know that they will be action. Like, maybe not episode 7, but they will have lots of action. Crazy stuff. Get your mind prepared because something's going down. And I'm getting more and more excited as each new week comes. I'll be back here same time next week. Again, X-Men reviews. If you haven't been following them along, go ahead, follow them along up there because you'll like it. Why not? You know, check it out at least. Subscribe, bell. Come back next week for my WandaVision review. I do, you know, movie reviews stuff pretty frequently on this channel. And I will see you. Thank you for watching. I will see you soon. I don't know. You decide when to watch a video. But soon, probably. Watch a video right now and it'll be soon. And my prophecy will be right. Thank you.